Does anyone know what time it is? I'm wondering. I think it might be gospel lights out. Get your gospel lights out. This little gospel light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, hey, hey. This little gospel light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, hey, hey. This little gospel light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine all the time. Hide it under a bushel. Are you crazy? I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, hey, hey. Hide it under a bushel. Are you crazy? I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, hey, hey. Hide it under a bushel. Are you crazy? I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine all the time. Don't let Satan, won't let Satan it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, hey, hey. Won't let Satan it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, hey, hey. Won't let Satan it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine all the time. All around your houses, I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, hey, hey. All around your houses, I'm gonna let it shine. Hey, hey, hey. All around your houses, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine all the time. Big finish. Let it shine. Let it shine all the time. Woo!
Hello, friends. It's Erica, and I am here to tell you today about a story about a man who was born blind. A lot of you know someone who has a disability of some sort, somebody who is blind or who and can't see, or someone who is deaf and can't hear. Sometimes people have physical disabilities, like they can't walk or run very well, all sorts of different kinds of things that sometimes people are born with, or maybe someone has an illness or an accident and they become disabled in one way or another. So in this story, a man was born blind. Now today, if someone has a disability of some sort, there are things that we do to make life a little better. Like we do things that help people. Like for blind people now, there are seeing eye dogs and canes that they can walk with to help them to safely make their way in the world. Well, in Jesus' day, that would not have been the case. And as a matter of fact, if you had some kind of an illness, or if you were blind or disabled in any way in Jesus' time, people often blamed you for that. They would have said, well, what did you do? You must have sinned, or your family must have done something wrong, and God is punishing you for this. We do not believe that, and neither did Jesus. So Jesus comes across this man who was born blind, and Jesus does something that seems kind of wild, but he comes across this man who was blind, and the man who was blind must have wanted to get his sight back, because Jesus spit in the dirt. You didn't think you'd ever see me spit, did you? Spit in the dirt, and he rubbed it around, and he made some mud, and he wiped the mud on that man's eyes. So the blind man's eyes are covered in mud, and Jesus says, go and wash in the pool of Siloam. So it was this pool of water, and so the man went and washed this mud off of his eyes, and guess what happened? He could see for the very first time in his life. I can't imagine how overwhelming and exciting that must have been for him to be able to see for the first time in his life. And people were amazed and wondering, how did this happen? And are you really that man who's was born blind and has never been able to see? Well, it was him. So sometimes Jesus will heal people, but here's what I want us to think about today. One of the reasons that Jesus healed this man was that so that he could see all that Jesus was doing in the world, that he could see God's creation and the beauty around him and understand the power of God and the work that Jesus was doing. But there are other senses that we can use. We don't just see the world or experience the world through our eyes, do we? I can see things, but also I can hear things, and I can smell and taste, and I can touch. Like I have this this rug that's rough, and I can touch that, and I can touch this, and I can taste chocolate, and I can taste fruits and vegetables and know those came from God. So today, I'm going to invite you to use your eyes, but also your nose and your mouth and your ears and your hands and your feet and all of the senses that God gave you, and notice the beauty of God's creation and notice the things that God is up to in the world. Here's an example. A few years ago, I was visiting my brother in Utah, and I spent part of my day with my nephew, Evan, and I was with his class, and we were taking a nature walk. So I was with Evan and about 3 or 4 of his friends, and we were walking through the woods, and we were talking and laughing and not really noticing very much of what was around us. And so I said, okay, boys, stop everything you're doing. I want you to stop talking, and I want you to listen and tell me what you noticed. Because we were on this hike, we were supposed to notice things in nature around us. So I said, stop talking and maybe even close your eyes and tell me what you hear. Well, once we finally stopped talking and listened, we heard water running in the river beside us. We heard birds chirping in the trees. We could hear grasshoppers and crickets and other bugs that were on the ground and in the trees. We could even hear the grass rustling in the wind. We heard all sorts of sounds that we hadn't even noticed because we were too busy talking and using our eyes. So today, use your eyes to see what is beautiful around you if you can. But also, if you can, use your nose and your mouth and your ears and your hand. Every sense that you have that works for you, and notice God's amazing creation all around you. Jesus says, I am the light of the world. And he means Jesus gives us life and light and beauty all around us. We just sometimes have to stop and notice. So let's do that today. Notice the world around you. Let's pray. Dear Jesus, thank you for the beauty all around us. Help us to stop and notice it today. And all of God's children said, Amen. I love you, and I hope you have a great week. I'll see you next time.
Every move I make, to the right first. Every move I make in you. You make me move, Jesus. Every breath I take, I breathe in you. Woohoo! Every step I take in you. You are my way, Jesus. Every breath I take, I breathe in you. Woohoo! Singing waves of mercy, waves of grace. Everywhere I look, I see your face. Your love has captured me. Oh my God, this love, how can it be? 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 Na 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 na. Every move I make in you. You make me move, Jesus. Every breath I take, I breathe in you. Woohoo! Every step I take in you. You are my way, Jesus. Every breath I take, I breathe in you. Woohoo! Singing waves of mercy, waves of grace. Everywhere I look, I see your face. Your love has captured me. Oh my God, this love, how can it be? 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 Na 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 na.